Chloe thought her digital makeup portfolio was just a quiet retirement hobby, but a strange anomaly in her profile picture changed everything. What started as a minor visual glitch quickly spiraled into a nightmare of digital obsession. Anonymous notifications began flooding her phone, displaying timestamps that perfectly matched her exact physical location in real time. The boundary between her screen and her reality shattered as an unseen watcher tracked her every single move. With the digital threat closing in, she had to figure out who was behind the screen before the virtual stalker made a terrifying physical appearance.
The Miami night pressed heavily against the window of the dimly lit apartment, but Chloe barely noticed the darkness outside. At 68, she found deep comfort in her quiet retirement hobby, meticulously editing her digital makeup portfolio for the local community theater. The rhythmic clicking of the mouse was the only sound in the quiet room, masking the distant hum of city traffic. She zoomed in on her profile cover photo to adjust the lighting, but something strange caught her eye. A dark, unexplained shadow lingered near her shoulder, distorting the perfect image. She frowned deeply, assuming it was just a visual glitch from the aging editing software. She tried to erase it with the clone tool, but the shadow remained stubbornly fixed in the pixels, almost as if it had a physical presence. The quiet sanctuary of her home suddenly felt entirely compromised. She took a slow, steadying breath, trying to calm her racing heart, but the relentless buzzing of the device in her palm offered no comfort. The glowing monitor cast long, distorted shadows across the hardwood floor, making the familiar room look entirely alien. Before she could investigate the anomaly further, her phone screen suddenly shook with violent, rapid vibrations. Anonymous message notifications flooded the display in a chaotic blur. There was no text, just a series of cold, precise timestamps. Chloe stared at the glowing screen, her thumb hovering over the glass. She whispered to the empty room, questioning why the messages said "right now." She swiped the notification away, but 3 more instantly popped up, each timestamp matching the exact minute she had noticed the shadow. Her dilated pupils reflected the glaring light as the digital anomaly shifted from a mere technical error to a terrifying reality. Someone was watching her live. She asked the shadows who was watching her, backing away from the heavy oak desk. Her shaking hands betrayed her rising, undeniable terror as the phone continued to buzz relentlessly against the wooden surface, proving the invisible observer was tracking her every single move in real time. The boundary between her screen and her physical reality had just shattered completely. She grabbed her phone, desperate to turn it off, but the screen remained frozen on the final chilling timestamp, locking her in a silent digital nightmare. The digital trap had already been set, and the unseen watcher was already inside the room with her.
Chloe fled the suffocating darkness of her bedroom, the glowing phone clutched in her trembling hand. She needed rationality. She needed Addison. The kitchen was a stark contrast to the dimly lit desk, bathed in harsh, unforgiving fluorescent lighting that hummed in tandem with the old refrigerator. Addison stood at the island, chopping vegetables with rhythmic precision. Chloe blurted out her concern, her voice a rapid, anxious burst. She shoved the glowing screen toward her friend, her thumb swiping frantically to show the unexplained shadow in her cover photo and the cascading wall of anonymous timestamps. She explained that the anomaly was in the pixels and the messages were tracking her. Addison paused, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She squinted at the harsh phone glare, her expression shifting from mild concern to dismissive amusement. She tapped the glass screen with a flour-dusted finger, insisting it was just a bad filter, and that Chloe had been staring at editing software for 6 hours. Addison told her that her eyes were playing tricks on her, and the app was simply glitching. Chloe insisted it was not a glitch, pointing out that the times matched exactly when she moved. Addison dismissed the concern, turning back to the cutting board and telling Chloe to come eat something before she spiraled further. The cold linoleum floor felt like ice beneath her socks, grounding her in the terrifying reality of the moment. Chloe whispered to Addison, her voice barely audible over the hum of the fridge, asking when Addison had walked into the kitchen. Addison replied that it was about 2 minutes ago. Chloe stared at the screen, her dilated pupils reflecting the glaring light. The new message displayed a timestamp that matched the exact second Addison had stepped onto the linoleum floor. The stalker was not just watching her online activity. The digital threat was tracking their physical proximity inside the apartment. Chloe choked out the words, stating the message said Addison was exactly 3 feet behind her, backing lay until her spine hit the cold tile of the backsplash. The safe haven of her home had just become a digital trap, and the unseen watcher was already inside the room with them. The familiar warmth of the kitchen vanished, replaced by a chilling realization that nowhere inside the house was truly safe anymore. Addison turned around slowly, the knife still in her hand, her expression finally shifting from amusement to genuine confusion. The rhythmic chopping had stopped, and the sudden silence in the kitchen was deafening. Chloe held up the phone, showing the exact timestamp to her friend, watching the color drain from Addison's face as the reality of the situation finally sank in. The digital stalker was not just a distant glitch, it was an immediate physical presence.
The suffocating air of the apartment had become entirely unbearable. Chloe needed sunlight, needing to prove to herself that the physical world was still safe. She fled the building, the bright Miami morning sun beating down on her face as she hurried toward the local park. The vibrant green grass and the distant sound of children playing offered a fleeting illusion of normalcy. She sat on a weathered wooden bench, her chest heaving, desperately trying to slow her racing heart. The phone in her pocket felt like a block of ice against her leg. The humid breeze carried the scent of salt and cut grass, but the fresh air did nothing to calm her frayed nerves. She kept glancing over her shoulder, expecting to see a shadow following her across the manicured lawn. Every rustle of the oak leaves made her jump, her senses hyper-tuned to any sign of physical danger. A cheerful voice called out from the paved pathway. She flinched, looking up to see Nicholas strolling toward her. He held the leashes of 3 golden retrievers, his smile bright and seemingly innocent. The dogs tugged at their harnesses, panting in the humid air, their tags jingling in the morning light. Chloe managed a tight greeting, her voice strained and barely above a murmur. Nicholas paused, adjusting his grip on the thick leather leashes. He mentioned that she looked absolutely exhausted yesterday. He had seen her light on, editing that portfolio until 3 in the morning. Chloe's breath hitched. The ambient noise of the park seemed to fade into a dull, rushing roar. She had never posted about her editing schedule. She had not even told Addison about working until 3. The sheer impossibility of his statement sent a fresh wave of dread crashing over her. How did he know about the editing session? Her voice trembling in the bright daylight. Nicholas just kept smiling, his eyes crinkling at the corners. He claimed he just noticed the light, telling her to take care of herself. He gave a casual tug on the leashes and continued down the path, the dogs trotting happily beside him. Before Chloe could process the impossible comment, her phone violently vibrated against her thigh. She pulled it out with shaking hands. The screen was a blinding glare in the sunlight. A new anonymous notification sat at the top of the feed. Her dilated pupils locked onto the cold, precise text. The timestamp was not from hours ago. It was from right now. It matched the exact second Nicholas had spoken those words. The digital stalker was not just watching her screen. The unseen watcher was physically linked to her real-world encounters, tracking her through the people around her. The bright sunlight suddenly felt like a spotlight, and the open park felt like a cage. She stared at the glowing screen, the terrifying realization washing over her. Her physical sanctuary was completely compromised. To survive, she knew she had to sever her online existence entirely, but as another notification chimed, she realized the digital trap was already too deeply rooted in her reality. The humid Miami air clung to Chloe's skin as she practically ran the remaining blocks to her apartment building. The park encounter with Nicholas still echoed in her mind, his innocent smile twisting into a sinister reminder of the unseen watcher's reach. She fumbled with her keys, her hands shaking so violently she dropped them twice before finally unlocking the door. The dimly lit apartment felt less like a sanctuary and more like a holding cell, but she had no other choice. She threw her phone onto the kitchen counter, ignoring its relentless buzzing vibrations. The glowing screen cast long, distorted shadows across the linoleum. Chloe rushed to her desk and flipped open her personal laptop. The bright screen glare illuminated her pale, determined face, cutting through the gloom of the room. She needed to sever the connection. She needed to blind the eye that was watching her. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard for a fraction of a second before she began to type with rapid, decisive strikes. The rhythmic clicking of the keys filled the suffocating silence of the room. She navigated through the labyrinth of her account settings, bypassing the warnings and the desperate pleas from the platform to reconsider. The interface felt hostile, flashing pop-ups asking why she was leaving, but she ignored every digital plea. She found the makeup portfolio first. Her thumb slammed the delete button. A confirmation prompt flashed in harsh, unforgiving red text. She clicked confirm without hesitation. The page refreshed, leaving a blank, sterile void where her life's work had been for the past 5 years. She moved to her main social media profile. The same process, the same cold digital execution. Her breathing grew shallow as she watched the progress bar crawl across the screen. The stalker's access was being systematically choked off, line by line, pixel by pixel. Every deleted image felt like cutting a string that the unseen observer was using to pull her into the dark. Chloe whispered to the empty room, declaring she was done being watched, her voice trembling but laced with a sudden, fierce resolve. Her finger hovered over the final confirmation button for her primary account. The phone on the counter buzzed again, a harsh, angry sound that made her flinch. She stared at the glowing laptop screen, the bright light reflecting in her dilated pupils. She stated firmly that the watcher would not control her life anymore, her voice cracking slightly before she firmly clicked the final delete prompt. The screen flashed white, then faded to a generic, empty dashboard. Her digital identity was gone. The portfolio, the photos, the timestamps, erased. She slumped back in her chair, a wave of exhausting relief washing over her. She had reclaimed her boundaries. She had cut off the obsession at its root. But as the laptop fan whirred in the quiet room, a new chilling notification chimed from the kitchen counter. It was not a timestamp. It was not a glitch. It was a single, plain text message from an unknown number, and it proved that erasing her digital footprint had not made her invisible. The watcher was no longer just in the pixels.
The late afternoon sun poured through the large glass windows of the Miami apartment, casting a warm, golden glow across the living room. For the first time in days, the suffocating tension that had gripped her chest began to loosen. The harsh blue glare of the computer monitor was gone, replaced by the gentle, natural light of the real world. She sat on the edge of her sofa, the quiet hum of the city outside serving as a soothing backdrop to the profound silence inside. On the coffee table lay her phone. It was completely still. No violent vibrations, no chaotic blur of anonymous notifications, no cold, precise timestamps. Chloe reached out, her fingers brushing the smooth glass. She picked it up and pressed the side button. The screen illuminated, but there were no new messages, no digital stalker lurking in the background. The screen was entirely blank, reflecting only her own calm, rested face. The dark, unexplained shadow that had haunted her pixels was finally gone. She took a deep, steadying breath, feeling the cool air fill her lungs. The digital trap had been dismantled. By erasing her online existence, she had starved the unseen watcher the very pixels they needed to track her. The boundary between her screen and her reality was no longer shattered. It was firmly rebuilt, with her standing safely on the physical side. The heavy oak desk in the corner no longer looked like a command center for a stranger. It was just a piece of furniture where she used to edit photos. The shadows in the room were just shadows, cast by the afternoon sun filtering through the blinds, nothing more. Chloe whispered to the empty room that there were no more shadows, her voice steady and calm, echoing softly in the sunlit room. She looked at the blank screen one last time, a genuine smile touching her lips. The paranoia that had dictated her every move was evaporating in the warm Miami light. She had reclaimed her boundaries. She had taken back her life. She placed the phone face down on the wooden table. The soft thud sounded like a gavel striking a block, sealing the end of her digital nightmare. She stood up, her movements fluid and unburdened. The apartment no longer felt like a holding cell. It was just a home. She walked toward the kitchen, her hand resting on the cool metal of the refrigerator handle. She pulled it open, the familiar hum of the motor greeting her like an old friend. She reached for the pitcher of iced tea, pouring a tall, condensation-slicked glass. The ice clinked softly against the rim, a simple, ordinary sound that grounded her completely in the present moment. She took a slow sip, feeling the crisp, cold liquid wash away the last remnants of the digital shell. The afternoon sun continued to warm the hardwood floor, and the house felt entirely her own again.